Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Hope you're having a good week so far. Now we've got a cool band to check out today, a new band to the channel, and I'm really excited to look at these guys. It says here that they're underground old school death metal from West Cumbria, UK. Now on Monday's Monday Grind show, we had two great old school deathy vibe, death grindy really, but man, they had that great old school death metal vibe to them, but with a new, modern, new school mix, which means it punches out the mix, the drums hit harder, those chugs and riffs just hit harder, and I was talking about how it just sounds better nowadays than those old tapey kind of recordings that we had back in the 90s from the old school death. So in my opinion, old school death could make a resurgence purely because it sounds better than it ever did because of the modern recording. Really dope. They've sent over a message here. It says, this album is our debut, and I'm pleased that we're getting on board with these guys with their debut. It was started in April 2023 and is a tribute to the guitarist Phil Rourke, who was a member of the band, sadly, until his passing in March 2023 due to cancer. So rest in peace, Phil, but a nice, tribute to him, and this will be a nice memory for him whenever you listen to it, which is good. It'll be a nice sentimental record. I like that as well. The band is called Severe Lacerations. They've got a nice long track for us here at 6 minutes 31, so we'll have a good listen as well. The track is called Burning the Mortal Coil, so let's get into it. Bass is coming through a bit harder on this bit, sounds dope. bass has got some distortion at this section, but it really sounds nice. There we go. Dope. Man, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't actually ready for it to quite end that soon. And it was a 6.5 minute track. Man, I wish we had a bit more information about this one in the description there. I'm going to look at it on the page, but I'll get this off just in case I dox myself. Wanted to see if these guys have recorded this themselves and mixed it themselves. I'm not too sure. I'm trying to look here on their page. Doesn't really say. No, can't really see, and I'm not going to waste too much time doing that. But I'm interested to know if they recorded that themselves and stuff. Oh, there is some information here, maybe. No. But anyway, it sounded like it had a home recording edge to it. As well as that kind of old school kind of tapey edge to it, which I'm sure they've purposely gone. It wasn't super wide out as well, which gives it that old school edge, because, you know, those mixes back in the day weren't as panned out as they are nowadays, and it gave it a different kind of sound. So I think they captured that old school sound nicely, but there was also a kind of a DIY sound in there as well. So it left me wondering whether they'd done that themselves and recording it themselves, because it'd be really nice, just with the fact that we're getting on with these guys with their debut, if they are recording it all themselves, that's just another nice thing for me to kind of get on board with, to see how that advances over the time as well, because that's always something that just gets better with the band as well. So yeah, really cool. Be interested to know. Put it in the comments or whatever, whether you're recording this stuff yourself and mixing it yourself, or whether you're sending that off to other people or what. But yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it a lot. I see here as well that it is drum programming. I was wondering whether the drums were I knew they were obviously sample kit, but I couldn't tell whether it was a played kit, like a played electric kit, or whether they were actually programmed. It says here that they were programmed, but they did a nice job. It has had a nice sound to it. I would say they could have been blended more nicely into the rest of the music. They were quite dry. I would have just added a bit more reverb to them to kind of give them a more of a room sound, a spaciousness, because that's what those old school drums had as well, the old school death sound. You know, when you're trying to recreate old school death now within the mix, because everything's different and you're using digital DAWs and you won't have all the same equipment that they had back in the day, which is normally just a 4-track as well. But anyway, you know, because all the technology is different, you actually have to purposefully recreate the old school sound and go out of your way now to create that sound, and do certain things to the sound in order to make it sound old school, and having kind of digital drums in there without the room sound to them, which a lot of the sample drums don't necessarily have. You've got to engineer that into the sound afterwards to match the rest of the kind of room sound that comes with the music. Yeah, you to get that old school flavor, I think you do need to do quite a lot of work, especially on the drums, to capture how that was recorded back in the day, you know, because it's not the same way, especially when you're programming drums. So that'll be interesting to see over the time. You know, all those things are going to get better over time, and it'd be interesting if this band, you know, sticks with us, that we can keep seeing them evolve and stuff like that. I'll be checking them out anyway because I like this stuff. What I wanted to mention as well is the bass. It says here that Lee Cummins is doing the guitar, bass, and the drum programming. So he's obviously got his hand at a number of tasks. But I was wondering with the bass, the first set of riffs and kind of up to the first chorus, I was hoping, man, this could have more bass. I was thinking it could have more bass. But then after that first chorus, I don't know what they did. It sounded like they just added a distortion pedal to the bass at that point, and it added a whole new layer of distortion to the mix, thickened it up, gave it more bass. The bass was more powerful at that point. And I was like, yeah, this is how I wanted it to sound in the first section as well. And it did keep that for the rest of the song. So I don't know what happened to the bass in the first section, whether they decided, right, well, to have more of a bass hit later in the track, we'll add the distortion later in the track. But I think it would have just worked all the way through to create that dual level of distortion with the guitars, and just the fact that the bass was louder at that point as well because it had more gain on it, and it just filled out the low end more. So keep the distortion on the bass guitar is what I would say, Lee, because it sounds dope, and it just adds that another layer and adds more depth to the sound when you've got more than one layer of distortion, more than one type of distortion. Just makes it sound dope. So yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. It was what I was hoping was going to be there, and then it was there, and I was like, yeah, very, very nice. One thing I really enjoyed was the solo, and I guess that was from Phil, so we're not going to be getting, unfortunately, any more solos out of him, but it was a sick solo. Different, weird, winding up the neck, kind of like loose and sloppy with it as well, though, kind of offbeat with it. Sounded really dope. It ended too soon, for my opinion. I would have done the same again. If you couldn't think of any more of that, just go back to the start and repeat it, you know, because that was just a really cool, weird, different solo. The way it came in as well, with that big, long bend and atmosphericness to it, I was really on board with it, and then it just kind of ended a bit soon. I would have just doubled whatever was in there, or just tried to think more of that, because it was a nice atmospheric breakaway from the death, from the double bass and the drum sound, and it was a different vibe to bring into the music at that point. I really, really enjoyed it. It was very, very cool. Vocals in this was dope. It's what you'd hope for from an old school death. I like the extra, which was a bit more shouty, vocal layering that was in there, although I would have panned that back slightly a bit as well, made it a bit more atmospheric. But yeah, the general bread and butter vocal in this one is doing a nice job. What's his name? Ian Maxwell. Just got the right guttural, gravelly throat that you want to hear with this kind of music, and a nice recording on it as well. So let's see how many guys are in this band. Lee Cummins, Ian Maxwell, and Phil Rourke were in the band. So now there's only 2 guys left. So I'm going to guess that these guys are kind of a DIY, doing it all themselves band. I'm not sure if they're going to get another guitarist now, because it seems that Lee Cummins does do some guitar as well. But yeah, I'm on board with this band now because they're interesting. They've got cool stuff going on. They're going out of their way to create an old school sound within a modern mix, which is dope as well. Although they've still got some ways to go with that, so it'd be nice to see the evolution and the improvement over the time. This is their debut, remember, but I'm really pleased it's their debut actually, because it's always best when you get straight on board early with a band and then you can, you're with them the whole way. Really dope. So I'm pleased that this band have found out about the channel, got on board with us, let us check out their debut and hear, the story behind the band and what's going on within the band and things like that. It's always interesting and cool to, to have a sentimental meaning behind the music as well. Always goes a long way. And I'll be looking forward to hearing more out of this band, seeing what they've got in the future, and hopefully it's a band that we can stick with for a while and see, improvements down the line. And hopefully if they are doing all their own stuff, which I'm going to guess they are, that'll be another thing that we can talk about and see the improvements with as well. That's why I love DIY bands more than guys who just go to a studio and get another guy to do it, because I can't really talk to those guys about the mix and, you could have panned this back in and out, because they just do, another guy's doing it, so I might as well be talking to him. So when DIY bands come through and they're doing it themselves, it's another avenue of stuff I can talk to them about, and I really enjoy that, as you know. So I'm pleased this band have got on board with the channel. I really enjoyed checking out their debut stuff there. A nice long track with lots of different stuff going on and lots of different things to talk about afterwards, which is always cool as well. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed being on the show. I hope we see you back again soon with something else cool, and hopefully we'll start seeing some more evolution with the band as well. That'd be dope. Hope you're having a good week so far, guys. That's it from me. We'll be back tomorrow with another cool band, heavy deathcore spoken word stuff. So if you like that stuff, tune in tomorrow. But other than that, we'll see you back on Monday with a Monday grind. Cheers, guys. Bye.